Well, hi everyone, it's Marcus, and I am very, very lucky today because sitting opposite me on my computer, my laptop, on Zoom is Patrizio Buanne. Hey, Mister, how are you?
I am very excited to talk to you. Here we go.
Welcome. Well, it is the end of the day in Adelaide, in Australia, and it's the start of the day over in your hometown. Where are you
Yes.
calling from today? Where are you?
Well, actually, I'm today not in my hometown. I'm in the mountains in Tyrol. So you know what they yodel. I'm on a recording session, like a songwriter camp with to hunt for new songs, new material. And it's about 600 kilometers from Vienna, Austria. So I'm actually living in Austria, Vienna.
Because
And
you were
yeah,
born
so
in, sorry, you were born in Vienna, weren't you?
Yes, my family comes from Naples, the south of Italy, but I was born in Vienna, and I consider myself an Austrian Neapolitan rather than um, an Italian Austrian. I'm an Austrian Neapolitan because
Ah,
Neapolitan is very important to me. It's an identity. It's a bit different, you know. It's like you wouldn't call an Irish person or a Scottish person just a Brit, you know, or just English, you know. It's very
yeah.
important.
Yeah, I agree. Now, I'm going to take you right back. Back
Yeah.
to 2005, I actually bought your very first album that I was aware of anyway, The Italian. Um,
Okay.
Amazing album, incredible. I fell in love with it. And looking
Thank you.
very dapper and smart on the front of the CD cover, I remember. I remember. I'll have to do a little bit of a glimpse over on when I'm doing the editing of this, of that image. But I
Yes.
remember I actually it was a year later, and your second album came out, which was called Forever Begins Tonight, and
That's
you
right.
actually did an Australian tour. I think it was about 2006, maybe 2007, and you
That's right.
played at
Absolutely.
Adelaide Festival Centre. And it was
Mm.
an amazing show. So I think you were very much promoting the recent album. It was a great evening. So that was way back in 2006, seven kind of period.
Yeah.
Obviously, since then, you've had a good, probably about 9 albums, I think, now under your belt. Yeah.
Wow. I stopped. I don't really count them anymore, but let me see. The Italian Forever Begins Tonight, Patrizio. Then I did an album for South Africa, which is not a release in Australia, but it's an own market. Then I've done a German album. Then I've done Viva la Dolce Vita. Then I've done Italianissimo. Then I've done a Christmas album. Yeah, it's about 9 to 10 album. I can't believe it. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Absolutely right. So think about it, I've been in Australia over over 25 times.
Yeah.
So for promotion, for promoting the albums for the record company, but then touring. And I must admit that I also came to Australia several times privately because I just always thought that I worked and I had to leave. So I wanted to get to know the culture better and just spend more time. I also have a cousin in Sydney. So I've spent a lot of time in Australia, and I know that artists usually say that, oh, I love it, it's so nice, but I actually really do. I really think that Australia is awesome, or as they say in Australia, it's truth, right? It's truth.
Yeah, yes, truth. I love it. Now, the last time you did a tour here was 2018, um,
Right.
which was obviously before that dreaded period that we all went through, where
Yes.
the whole world locked down for 3 years or so. Um,
Sure.
but you're back, 5 years later now, almost 6 years later, with a brand new tour that you're coming out doing it with Il Divo. That's
Yeah.
exciting.
Well, let me tell you something about this. In 2018, I turned 40. I finished my tour in Australia. It was great. And I just said to myself, you know, what am I doing for myself as a human being, as a man? I can't just record albums and just go on tour. And I mean, I love it. And you know, when I was 17, my dad died, so I kind of going out there in the world was like Forrest Gump going for a run. And I was just going for a run, singing all over the world till I just stopped and I said, hey, you gotta do something for yourself as well. Although music is part of me, who I am and what I want to do. So I just and also with the fact that Spotify and YouTube and all the streaming platforms have really revolutionized the show business. So guys like myself, who sold a lot of records, suddenly find themselves in a total new reality where albums don't sell that much. It's all about streaming. So I said, hold on, I need to step aside. I didn't want to step back, but I wanted to step aside to see where this whole chaos and mess is going. And I used the time for myself. I traveled more, which I always did, but with the music. And I got married. I married somebody that I knew for quite a bit, but never crossed that line. But I thought, that person was very nice, and found out that the person felt the same way about me. So yeah, then I became a dad, a father. My daughter is now 4 years old, and suddenly, so she was born August 2019. In February 2020, I went on tour in America. I did a tour for Valentine's Day, came back end of February, and suddenly we've got the first lockdown, and which was for me not as devastating as for others, because I got the time to play with my baby, and I mean with both babies, with my wife and my daughter. and and it was fun because I watched the first words of my daughter and the first steps, and I was there and I was cooking and I was just going. I was playing every day. Of course, I wasn't going out much because restrictions. Although maybe I shouldn't say it in an interview, but I was sneaking out sometimes to get some wine. Who didn't? Who didn't?
Exactly.
I'm happy that we can say these things with a twinkle in our eyes now, because maybe some years ago maybe we would have been arrested for that.
Yeah.
But I never crossed the line. I was very disciplined. Sometimes I didn't understand who did, but I eventually got vaccine. Maybe not happy about it, but I followed what they want us to do. And okay, whatever we believe, we want to save the planet, or whatever they will have, in their on their mind for us. So not to keep that answer too long, I basically I used the time to work on myself, but it started to itch here and there. So I wanted to do stuff. I found myself in Austria. And I said to myself, I didn't want to fly to America because I also have a residence card, a green card in America. But in America, it was a mess. It was worse than in Europe. Australia was closed; there were no flights. So I started to look into the show business in Germany, Austria. I never sang really in German. It's not my favorite language to sing, but it's not that bad either. So I wrote some songs. They have Italian titles, but the rest is kind of German, like I used to do with the English music. And one experiment after the other became a radio hit there. I can't believe it. So that's why I'm now in Tyrol, writing more songs. And suddenly my team in Australia contacts me and says, Patrizio, Il Divo wants you to be a special guest on the tour. And we're going together. And obviously it's going to be a bigger portion, a bigger doses of Il Divo, and I'm going to perform my 6-7 songs there. And I hope in 2024 I'll be back for my own tour. But the good news for my fans is a new album coming out at the same time of the Il Divo tour. It's called The Neapolitan. Yeah, and now I'm just going to shut up because I just spoke too much.
Now, one of the songs, you've just released a single from that album called A Ti Amo Ancora.
No.
Is that not from that album?
No, it's not from the album. It's a single. It's one of those German singles. It has a Italian title, but it's actually in German. You guys can watch the video clips. So Ti amo ancora, Tutto bene amore mio, Sempre sempre solo noi. I mean, all these, you can go and just check it out. But it's, for the hardcore fans that love my music and my voice, they don't care if it's in German or if it's Italian or it's English or it's in Afrikaans. They just love my interpretations. For those who say, I only listen to Italian music, then you might as well just wait for the album, The Neapolitan, which is coming out in October, out now.
Exciting, which is not far away, of course. Hey, let's go back a bit further again.
Sure.
To the Forever Begins Tonight album. There was a song on that absolutely floated my boat. It was a version of Robbie Williams's song, the Angels.
That's right, Angelo.
Did you what inspired you to cover that song and put that on your album? Because I mean, obviously a beautiful song. What was your
Yeah.
motivation for that?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for the compliment. I'm happy that it reached so many hearts, even people that don't speak Italian. I assume that you don't speak Italian, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. So, but you see, it's an example that language reaches the heart, because the most beautiful language is the language of love, and it's also music. It's the soundtrack of love. It's for me music. So what happens? I wanted to sing not just some old Italian songs and sing them in English and Italian, switch the language, but I wanted to take a pop song. At that time, it was a big hit, and I wanted to do it in Italian. And you know, I am not somebody who likes to blow my trumpet too loud and say, but it was me who invented. Not. But it was me who sang at first international songs in Italian. So my first album, 2005, the Italian, was "Don't Dream It's Over" by Crowded House. I did that
Yeah,
in
Australian.
Italian Alta Marea, called Alta Marea. And in the second one, I wanted to take an international song, an English song, and make it Italian. So that was Un Angelo. So basically, at that time, bringing the Italian language back on the market, and not to be associated just with Pavarotti and Bocelli and all this, the classic tenors and whatnot, which is great. I love to listen to that, but it's not the way I express myself. So it's also a good example for Il Divo and Patrizio. There is such a big contrast. We share the same audience on many levels. And maybe if I put myself next to them, from outside, I could be a member of them, because we kind of like to look neat on stage and represent a class of singers that is considered classical. But I'm not a lyric singer. I'm not a tenor, not a baritone. I'm just a cheesy crooner, and I love my way of opening my heart. And yeah, I've got a strong voice, but I don't want to be a vocal acrobat. I'm not trying to hit the high note just to show off. I want to reach the heart and move the people emotionally, and move the people to make them dance. And that's my little shtick, as they say in America.
Well, I mean, you've got your sexy ballads, you've got your up-tempo tunes, you've got something for everybody. Look, you may have even already answered my next question.
Yeah.
What inspires you to make your music? When you get up in the morning, what inspires you to sing?
You know what? I'm not sure if I wake up in the morning, I immediately want to sing. but I was raised with music. It's just part of me, of who I am. I mean, some people wake up in the morning and they switch on the TV and they like to hear the noise of the news or whatever. For me, it's the music. Get up in the music and just make my coffee or my tea, and there's the music in the back. And I also remember my parents in their restaurant playing music very loudly, and people came to eat in my parents' restaurant, but also because there was music. And on the weekend, my parents used to record the old vinyl records into cassettes to be played in the restaurant. So again, music. So music is always there. And I just heard my daughter walk up. She won't disturb us, but she's singing. So she's also immediately brought up with the music. It's just us. It's just music. I mean, maybe that's a very, very Neapolitan thing. Neapolitan people are so Neapolitans, for who doesn't know what Neapolitan is. It's geographically a city in the south of Italy, but Naples, founded by the Greeks, and being influenced by the Spanish, by the Greeks, by so many dominations, celebrated and manifested always music. Music is such an important part. Naples has the oldest opera house in the world, Teatro San Carlo. So music is just part of our culture. And as a matter of fact, Naples, for those who have not seen the city, for those who have seen it, might think, "Oh, what a messy, dirty city," which is true. It's like New York. It's rough, but the streets are like stages. The baker, the guy that fixes his car, it's like being in a theater, and it's like being in a movie theater. Naples is music, and that's why it's part of who I am. That's why I'm not Italian. I'm Neapolitan.
And look, well, the Neapolitan is out, like we said, in October. Obviously, when you come here during October and November on the Australian tour, are we going to have any songs from that new album?
I bet you, of course. I mean, I will not give you just my old stuff, but I won't give you too much of my Neapolitan stuff because I want to do that on my tour. So I'm singing about 6, 7 songs. I'm gonna give you my Il Mondo. I'm gonna sing Un Angelo. I'm gonna sing some songs that make, puts a tear there and here and there. But also, I wanna make people cry laughing, not just sobbing there. Oh my God, so beautiful. Like I'm an entertainer. I'm a happy guy. I'm okay. Us Neapolitans, when we sad, we laugh really loud. And if we're happy, we wanna laugh that much that we have tears in our eyes. That's my goal. I wanna cook you guys like spaghetti.
Yes, and drink our wine. Our South Australian wine is to die
Oh
for.
my, oh, I love that wine. I mean, I've drank so much wine that I said to myself, am I an alcoholic now? But I'm not yet. But I love wine. I just love wine. And I have a lot of friends in Australia, without advertising their brand, of vineyards, and famous winemakers are actually my fans, because wine goes along with music. Best thing.
It's sort of a passion. Now, of course, October, November is the tour around Australia.
Yeah.
You'll be hitting Adelaide, which will be the Adelaide Entertainment Centre with Il Divo on Monday, the 6th of November. I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's been an absolute treat, Patrizio.
So am I. Adelaide is awesome. They said, Adelaide, the city of churches, but I find it much more relaxed than Perth, even Perth or Melbourne or Sydney, which is great. But when you come to Adelaide, it's, I can feel my breath. It's very nice restaurants, good food, people are relaxed. I think Adelaide is the real hidden gem of Australia for me.
Okay? I love that quote. That quote.
Yeah.
I'm going to get Tourism South Australia to use that quote.
No, go ahead, but just don't forget that it's quote by Patrizio Buanne.
Exactly. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your time. So looking forward to meeting you when you come to Adelaide. It's going to be a blast. Yeah, all the best with the new album. Exciting stuff.
No, I mean, I like to do interviews because it's, talking about projects, about stuff. But I like your energy. You're having a really, you put a nice twist in it. It's not what you ask, it's how you ask it. And I think that I can't wait to give you a hug. And I can't wait you to give me, as a present, a nice bottle of wine.
Done. Look forward to it. Enjoy.
You take care.